Welcome back. You're still watching Finweek Money Matters. South Africans should brace themselves for regular power cuts in the years ahead. Well, this as Eskom has warned that load shedding will be with us for at least the next 3 years. But what will it cost you to get rid of Eskom, and is it even worth it? Finweek's editor Jana Marais is still in studio with us, and we are also joined by Dallas Cass. He's from S&P Power Units, and Johan van der Spoel, owner for Your Home, to answer your questions. Gentlemen and lady, before we get to this discussion, yesterday I had the opportunity to speak to the Eskom CEO, and I was at the results presentation, and I'm sure you've seen this graph that's going to be put on the screen all over social media, on TV. And just for those who haven't seen it, it just shows over the months from January to April the probability of load shedding. So green means low probability, orange we are looking at medium, and red says very, very high probability there. So with this context, I'm going to start with you, Dallas. What are the options here for South Africans?
Your options are basically twofold. The first is supplementary power, which has been due to the tariff increases, and it's a cost-saving exercise. Your second option is to put backup systems on your essential circuits within your household, where you back up your lights and your entertainment, your fridges, the essential circuits, not air conditioners and geysers and so forth.
So this is going to be the future, Johan?
Yes, indeed. I think people have options. You have grid-tie options, you have total off-grid, and obviously you also have hybrid systems. And I think hybrid systems is where we will most probably see the growth go.
Dallas, let me come to you before. I think Jana will probably want to jump in at some point, but I think what has been interesting, or rather you'd be able to alert us to the stats. You've been doing this since 1991, if I'm not mistaken. Have we seen an increase in the number of people that are now wanting to use off-grid ways of getting electricity?
Within South Africa, definitely. Our traditional market was always cross-border rural electrification or telecommunication sites where there was no grid. With the first round of load shedding and the energy crisis, we started doing more and more projects in South Africa. I would say in the last year, the growth has been 150%. When we opened up last Monday, it's literally 20, 30 inquiries a day. A lot of South Africans don't realize it is expensive to take your house off-grid. It's not really an option to take your house completely off-grid. The best way to do it is to supplement and to back up essential circuits.
Johan, so it's not, I mean, it's a costly exercise too. One
Yes,
needs to,
yeah.
What are the things we need to think about before we rush off and say, I'm just going to buy a generator and a solar power panel?
As he said, basically what we do is we do an assessment of your average needs. Now, what I normally do is we try and take an average line of your usage over 24 hours, and then we try to fill the area underneath that average line. And then we say, okay, but that is causing that your average go higher. For example, your geysers, as he said, your heating devices. So we focus, again, lighting, lights, television, your computer equipment and stuff. Doesn't mean that you can't use that, because you can use solar geysers to heat up, and there's gas and all those things. But yeah, pricing, it's always a big thing.
If I can jump in there, we had a case study of a guy in Pretoria who took his house completely off the grid at a cost of 400,000 Rand, which I thought was just, you know, kind of eye-popping.
On that point, let's just bring that up on screen. We've got how much, approximately how much. I mean, these are estimates, and you know, we'll touch back on your story, Jana. But solar geyser, those are the estimations that you've got there, from 5,000 to 35,000. Solar lighting will be moving up to what, 50,000 plus is what it says. Cell phone charger to up to 2,500. We've got solar fridge as well. We'll set you back a couple of grands there, and a laptop charger. So you said that he was looking at how much?
So he spent 400,000 to get his completely off the grid. So he has a lever that so say the sun doesn't shine for, I don't know, 3 weeks. So he can actually get back on the Eskom grid if he needs to. But I think the question from our side is, I mean, 400,000 Rand, that's a lot of money to spend. But also, I mean, are banks starting to finance these things? I mean, are you seeing clients getting in and saying, you know, the bank saying this actually increases the value of your property, or the cost saving over the life of this investment is actually making it worth it for us to fund it?
Most definitely. What we've experienced a lot of queries for finance. I just want to quickly get to the pricing model. So it all depends on what you want to get from your system. I always recommend to people don't go completely off-grid. So the systems are so intelligent that they actually prioritize. We have systems which basically say solar first, and during the day it will absolutely use no Eskom at all. And then it will charge your batteries, and at night it will then go to the batteries as your backup. And then if need be, because batteries is an expensive thing and it's all around the number of cycles, it will basically go to the grid and supplement. So these systems are not that expensive anymore. Batteries is the expensive part, and I guess you will agree. But if you plan and decide what you want to achieve, so I guess with the whole question of load shedding is what do we really want to achieve? Well, first is you want to save some money. You want to get rid of the inconvenience that, listen, I was watching the tribe and then what happened next. And that's what you're looking for. So it's a fit for purpose, what we're looking at. So, yeah.
Dallas, tell us in terms of getting a service provider, how do you know that you are getting a reputable one?
You can imagine in terms of the growth of the market, how many companies are climbing on board and you've got overnight, I call them mushrooms, popping up all over the show. They're all solar experts. The fact of the matter is look for track record and reference. Ask for references. Ask for track record in terms of the components that they're utilizing, the quality of the components. There's a multitude of components out there, and South Africa, unfortunately, or Africa, is becoming the dumping ground of a number of renewable energy products, number one. But getting back to in terms of your payback and financing, if you put a 3 kilowatt high-end product out of Germany, supplementary system, no batteries, in your house, it's going to cost you, say, 70,000 Rand. If you take that money out of your bond, argument's sake, rule of thumb, 700 Rand a month. You're going to be saving 900 Rand a month on your current tariff in Shwani or City Power. So immediately you're in a positive cash flow.
Is this a generator then you're talking about? This is a solar or panels, a renewable energy product?
3 kilowatts peaks of solar panel with a 3 kilowatt inverter, grid tie, no backup. You're going to be in a positive cash flow from day one. And it's got a lifespan guaranteed output of 25 to 30 years.
So people should really, even without load shedding, financially it already
financially it makes sense. The load shedding, the battery side of it is ease of lifestyle. That you don't want to, as he was rightly saying, you don't want to stop watching your TV. Load shedding, my load shedding is 6 to 8 at night, which is painful. But okay, we don't have that problem.
If I can also add on to that, what we say is quality, reliability and safety. People think that solar is in South Africa 20 years. It's not. It's new. It's the past 5 years. The big corporates had the money to buy. It was quite expensive. So you will see a lot of new companies mushroom. But what I would look at is the quality of a system, the warranty, the safety, what features. I mean, it's DC. It's not AC systems. It's a total different kettle of fish. And if your house burns down because you don't have the right equipment in place, you have an assurance problem.
Just in terms of, I mean, I'm not an engineer, I'm very impractical. How difficult is it actually to run these things? I mean, what kind of, with Eskom, I switch on a light switch and that's it. I don't worry about anything else. What kind of maintenance and day-to-day admin is there involved in it?
A lot less than, for instance, a generator. And a generator, you've got OPEX, you've got operation expenditure, you've got to fuel it, you've got to service and maintain it on a regular basis. Whereas with the inverters and the solar panels, you literally have to clean the solar panels. And all our clients, we enter into a maintenance contract with them where we do a biannual inspection. You go and measure the output of the panels, you check the functionality of the inverter, you check the DB board. It would be a separate DB board. There's surge arresters, lightning. A lot of people ask about hail. The solar panels we utilize are hail resistant up to cricket ball size hail. So there is not an issue with that.
A friend of mine actually did a drop test, 2 floors, and it still produced 80% of energy. Just quickly, so he's talking a lot about the grid tie. So, and you wanted to know, is it seamless? Yes, you don't even know. It's like, depending on the kind of lighting, if you have old fluorescent lights, it actually just flickers like that. But with batteries, you also have maintenance because it's a chemical reaction and you need to look at the batteries as a maintenance aspect. Most of the inverters have cooling fans, and so you also need to look at the cooling fans that they are sometimes just blown out. But that's, as you said, part of the maintenance plans what you can get. But in general, it's a seamless exercise. I can really recommend it to people.
How often do you have to replace batteries and solar panels, for example?
Solar panels, as you said, is 25 years. Batteries, depending on the cycles. Manufacturers tend to say 12-hour design life. I'm very practical around it. I say about 5 years if it's gel batteries, depending also on the kind of batteries what you use. You get deep cycle batteries, which is, as you said, the dumping kind of batteries, and then you get quality batteries. Unfortunately, penny-wise, pound-foolish.
Gentlemen, we'll have to leave it at that for today, but thank you so much for educating us. This is definitely something we should be looking into, not just, as you said, not just for load shedding, but long term, it does make financial sense. That was Dallas Cass from S&P Power Units and Johan van der Spoel, owner for your home. And of course, Jana Marais, she is the editor at Finweek. That's all from this week's edition of Finweek Money Matters. We'll see you again same time next week. Have a good weekend.